Hello, welcome to Wholehearted Apothecary. I'm Lula Miller, the Master Herbalist here. And today we're working on getting a few things ready for offerings to be held and the gift shop at the Swiss Historical Village Museum in New Glarus, Wisconsin. Is we have a Healing Salve, which I currently have a batch made up in a slightly bigger jar, but these customers prefer smaller jars. So we're just going to remelt it, pour it into our 1 ounce jars. Then I say just twist open. That's where we're going to pour our salve. Salves are infused with some healing herbs and olive oil. Then they're hardened and set up with beeswax. So healing herbs infused into olive oil. Plant material has been strained out, and then it's been combined with some beeswax. Originally I made this into a looser, more of an ointment. So when I melt this, I'm going to be adding a little bit more beeswax just to stiffen it up a little bit, especially now that we're coming on warmer weather a little bit. Don't want your healing salve to be too runny. It's a little easier to apply, I think, once it's a little stiff. Okay. So I'll wash that jar out later. That is what it would look like as an ointment. See how it's kind of running to the other side of the pan? We'll be adding a little more beeswax so that stiffens up. Turn our temperature on the stove to low. I have my couple of tins set up and ready to go over here. Let's see, why don't you guys keep an eye on that, and I will go grab some beeswax. So while this is warming up, I'll get out the beeswax and show you. This is white beeswax pellets, cosmetic grade. So they're good for products to use on the skin, on the face. They look like, you can see they're almost like little beads of wax. Once this melts down, we'll add another tablespoon, I think. And that'll get everything nice and stiff. In the pot, it's already starting to liquefy again. So if you can see in there, it's definitely starting to melt back down again. Scrape the stuff down from the side. Give a little bit of stir. What I like about this pot, as you can see, it's got this little pouring knot there. It makes it really, really easy to pour it into the little salve tins without too much of a mess. Of course, watch me jinx myself. Pretty much all good there. Just that one tiny thing left. And there that goes. Okay. In pops our beeswax. I'll show you that one more time. So you can see the little pastils. Those are really easy to work with. Some people buy a bar of beeswax and hand grate it. I find these pastils a little easier to work with. So now we'll just let those melt too, and then we'll be ready to pour everything into the tins. Now, if you're making your own, one thing to be mindful of is when you're looking at your tin, there's a top and a bottom. For example, this is the bottom of this one. This is the top. I don't know if you can tell, this is white. That's that like foamy stuff that's in the top of jars that you'll get from the store. Who knew that doesn't go in the bottom? I can't tell you how many times I've messed that up, so do pay attention if that's something you're concerned about, making it at home. If you're wondering how you go about making a salve, so this is an herbal salve, a healing salve. What we would do is collect some fresh healing herbs, and you want to collect them about 48 hours after the last drain. And for good measure, I like to collect them around 10 in the morning after any morning dew has evaporated. You're going to cover them, like place them in a jar, cover them with olive oil, knock out any air bubbles, make sure it's topped all the way to the top with olive oil, and cap it. Set it in a dark cupboard, shaking it a couple times a day for a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. At that point, strain out the plant material. So you're just left with the olive oil. Then there's no hard and fast rule for how much beeswax to olive oil you add when you're making a salve. The general rule is, ooh, there goes the camera. The general rule is the more beeswax you use to oil, the stiffer it's going to be. So I usually use about 1 ounce of beeswax for every 3 ounces, possibly 4 ounces of oil. So I like my salves to be stiff. They will warm up and become workable just by body heat, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Concentrate here, otherwise I really will jinx myself with how easy this pan is to pour by not paying attention and pouring all over the counter. Oh, so far so good. That guy is a little shallow, so I guess that one is for the home. So I'll take you over to look at these in just 1 second. Right now they just look like little pots of olive oil, but in a few minutes they will start to harden up just with room temperature, and then they'll be ready to seal, label, put on a little protection seal. We're ready to go to shop. Okay, so let me see if I can get you in the camera for now. In there, they're just liquid, so now no one's going to touch them until they set up, and we'll come back to see that in a minute. So these are the finished salves, the healing salves we were making. They have begun to set up. Actually, I won't move them because the top tends to set up before the bottom, so just in case. Let's see, this one has a little bit less in it, so that's the one that will be for our home use, and I could probably lift that one up. You can see how solid it is, no longer liquid. It's got a nice sheen to it, it's set up very well. Once they are in this stage, you can go ahead and cap them. Keep any dust from setting in them. They'll finish setting up. We'll get them labeled and we'll get them off to the shop. Okay, here they are, all ready to go. Off to the shop.